I would like to read to you an excerpt from my new book, The Life I Designed. But before I read, I would like to take a moment to just set the space. This isn't just a book. This is my life. This is my truth. This is what it looks like to rebuild when everything around you feels like it's falling apart and still choose to rise. The life I designed is not a story of perfection. It's a story of process. It's about the moments that broke me, the decisions that shaped me, and the faith that carried me when I didn't know how I was going to make it through. What you're about to hear is a piece of my foundation, the part of my journey where I had to keep building, even in the middle of pain, responsibility, and uncertainty. And I'm sharing it because I need you to understand something. No matter what chapter you're in right now, you still have the power to design your life. Now, let me take you into my story. When I consider the life I designed, I think about how buildings began from the ground up in order to be sturdy. It all begins with the foundation. In 1990, at the age of 30, my marriage was over and a new chapter had begun. I have always been a person to keep things moving. Though this was a difficult part of my construction, I knew the building of my life had to continue, not just for me, but for my sons as well. As I mentioned, my marriage brought me 2 sons, and now that they are adults, I can say that I have come to appreciate motherhood more today than I could in the process of them growing up. When I was raising them as a single parent, it was hard. I think I was so busy trying to make a life for us and make sure that they had everything they needed that I may not have been as present as I would have wanted to. Being honest, I was so focused on the responsibility that I didn't connect with them the way I should have at the time. Now we can have conversations and relate to each other better. I can see some of the values I instilled in them along the way showing up in their lives. In them, I see my own work ethic and determination. Even though I wasn't paying attention to them imitating my resilience, I now know that they were. Part of my designing this new part of my life was my employment. I worked at a company that had been in operation for 30 years when I started. They had an office in downtown Jackson, and I was the first Black employee they had. This was the late 1990s, and as you might imagine, this presented some challenges. But I did my best to work through it. I had a job to do, and I was doing my best to stay focused on that. It was during this time that my family experienced another tragedy. One of my first cousins who lived in Texas was killed.